Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bowtie Security Guy After Dark. With me today is my buddy Stephen Epting. I wanted to have Stephen on because he's had kind of a non-traditional journey into cyber. Stephen, tell us a little bit about kind of your transition from a police detective into like forensics and cybersecurity.
Yeah, so everyone asked how I got into cybersecurity, and I would not recommend the path I took to anyone because I was a police officer for almost a decade, and with 4 years of that being investigations primarily against crimes against kids, not fun cases. But because I was so tech savvy and eager to learn, the last 2 years I was a detective, I actually started taking on a collateral duty as a data recovery examiner. I mostly just broke into phones for criminal cases, drug cases, murder cases, whatever. But doing that, I really, really liked it a lot. Like it kind of like lit a spark in me that I'd never felt professionally. So, I kind of came to a crossroad. I was a little over 10 years in policing and I had to kind of ask myself, I want to keep doing this? Do I want to make a transition? Do I want to get potentially shot at one day? Or do I want to do something, work with computers and break into them and kind of explore other opportunities? So, I did my research and decided to make the jump.
I love how you did it. I think you're doing one of the most important parts is like you realize very quickly that relationships were kind of king. I know I got a message from you, and I know others too are like, "Hey, is this Stephen guy reached out to you?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, that guy's awesome."
Yeah, I've sent
Um,
a lot of people your way, but
yeah,
I guess
it's
just the
been
biggest
fun.
question I had to ask myself because I started looking at boot camps, which I know we both hate boot camps, and like all these certifications, it's like, man, these certifications in these boot camps are fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Like, is that something I want to do? Like, is that really going to help me actually get a job? Because, just being a police officer, I was already suspicious of the boot camps anyways, especially when they're like, oh, we'll get you a job in 6 weeks, 8 weeks guaranteed. It's like, that sounds fishy.
I
But
remember you coming to me and kind of asking my thought on that. And I was just like, just go meet people. Go go bang on doors, go talk to people, go
yeah,
work, go to B-sides, go to donate your time to different events and stuff like
yeah.
that. It gets your name out there.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I went to besides Greenville, I went to local DEF CON groups. I messaged a lot of people on LinkedIn. I would ask them for phone calls, like 10, 15-minute phone calls, and I would just be casual with it. I wouldn't ask them for jobs, but I would say, hey, like, what advice would you have for a newbie for me, like me?
Yeah.
Like, what would you do differently just getting into tech? And a lot of these guys and people I talk to, they offer a lot of good advice. Um, but I think
We
the
don't
biggest
we
question,
don't want to see people struggle like we did, man. I mean, that's really what it comes
yeah,
down
I would
to.
say like I was pretty surprised about the amount of people that were willing to help. Like, I got ghosted by a few people, but like, that's their prerogative. They don't have to answer me if they don't want to. Like, they don't owe me anything. So like,
Right.
but I think the biggest thing I wanted to do is like I tried to approach the career change strategically, and you really helped me out with a lot of this because I wanted to stand out from the crowd. Like to me, getting Security Plus or whatever the CISA cert, that's not going to make me stand out. Like, what skills do I have that'll make me different than everyone else? Because, you know, there's millions of people applying for these jobs. And, if I'm just have a few certs and a boot camp and a project or two under my belt, that's not going to help. You have to know how to talk to people and like network and learn from people, be humble, and just ask for help.
I've that is one of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of people just kind of expect it to happen. They expect it to just be kind of easy, like, oh, I message some people and then I'm done. I sent out when I was unemployed, I sent out 2,800 messages with video links, to my 2 minute, 2.5 minute
Yeah, I
intro
remember
video.
that.
And I hit the ground running, right? And people were like, "Well, how'd you get a job in 4 or 5 months?" It's like, because I didn't stop every single day. I didn't apply for jobs. I just met people. I
Yeah,
engaged with people, and I created brand advocates, people who are like, "Hey man, I'm looking out for you." And I think that's what happened to you too, is because you would reach out to these people and then they'd be like, "Hey, here's an opportunity. You should check it out. My buddy knows this guy who knows that guy who knows that person. You should
That's how I got
apply."
the
And
cybersecurity job I have now. The guy,
yeah.
someone reached out and said, "Hey, like contact this person. There's a job opening. I think you'd be a good fit for."
Yeah, I remember we did a mock interview beforehand,
Hmm.
and you were just crazy nervous. And the advice I give everybody is like, look, they want you to succeed. They want you to come in and absolutely crush the interview.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. But for new people, what we want to see is energy. We want to see somebody who's excited and kind of passionate about this. And
And
I think your work as a detective really gave you that analytical mind that's really important within
right.
cyber to be able to problem solve that a lot of people are missing.
Yeah. And I had a someone tell me too when I was a detective, like a good detective's always inquisitive. Like you will always want to know why. And that really applies to cyber as well, because, hey, why isn't this working? Like, hey, what do I need to do? Like, why isn't this running? Like, you just have to be really inquisitive. And I think the
So
inquisitiveness helped me, but
I think it
the
did too. I still remember your intro video that you had recorded with you and your ducks
ducks,
outside.
they're now deceased ducks.
Yeah, you said you had like a fox or something come in, right?
Yeah, a stray dog broke into the
Oh
duck house,
no.
and yeah, they're no more,
That was
fortunately.
that was your hook for a bit there. I thought that was great. You
Yeah,
had
I
ducks.
still have chickens,
Oh yeah,
but
nice.
you know, I think you have to be a little bit. You have to kind of know yourself, know your strengths, like what makes you unique. Like I think that's what kind of drew me to you. Is just like you showed me the Nintendo guitar, and it's like, dude, that's badass. Like
I've had
like
so many people
I've
message
never
me.
seen anyone with a Nintendo guitar because I had 30 questions off the top of my head I wanted to ask about it. Does it does it work? Does it plug into amp? Does
Totally
it do
does.
everything you're supposed to? Do you play
Yeah.
guitar?
I do. And it totally plays and it totally works and it plugs into a question mark amp that I built too.
Dude, that's cool.
It
And
was
that's
one
just
of
some
those things. Like I think for me, I'm always tinkering, right? Learning new skills. I watched a video on being a luthier and kind of making music, making instruments, and I was like, I could probably make a guitar. And
yeah,
that's how it started. And then I found somebody on YouTube, and very similar to kind of what you did with me, it's like this guy had recorded a video of him making a Nintendo guitar, and I messaged him and I'm like, hey man, I'm about to take on this journey. Like, what are some pieces of advice? What are some things that you think I should do differently? What would have you done differently? And he's like, oh man, here's some of the stuff I would have done. Also, here's my cell. If you get stuck or you have any problems, let me know. And I'm texting this guy that I don't know from Adam at like 9 o'clock at night. I'm in my workshop and I'm like, hey, I'm not getting any sort of sound on the pickup. What's going on? Like we're troubleshooting and stuff over the internet. And I feel like there's a lot of people who are willing to kind of give their time as long as that person actually takes the advice and does stuff with it. I feel like that's the thing that really annoys me is that I'll meet with someone, I'll give them a ton of advice, and they'll do absolutely none of it, and they'll
or
come
they'll
back to
push
me
back.
yeah, or they'll push back, or they'll come back to me 6 months later, and they'll be like, nothing's working, and I'm like, okay, well, what have you done? And it's like, oh, well, I just keep applying for jobs. It's like that's not
Yeah,
going to
that
work
doesn't work
anymore.
anymore these days. You have
No.
to, because that was when I did my mass calling to everybody. Like when I was talking to people, I asked them, like, if you don't mind me asking, like, how'd you get your job? And about 80% said referrals, family works there, they knew
Yeah.
somebody, they were used to work with somebody that works at this company now, and they got an employee referrals. Like, well, that's good to know.
And then once you had that knowledge, that's where you started, I think, to realize, and the light bulb went off. You're like, all right, I can do this. Let me
Yeah,
start
I mean, I
meeting
can be
people.
friendly. Like, that's one thing I'm appreciative for law enforcement for is I know how to talk to people, and you know, soft skills go a
Those
long way.
the soft skills are more important than technical right now.
I agree.
Period. I will hire someone less technical who's more personable. And I hate saying that, but but like I need people who aren't going to create toxicity on my team. I need somebody that can kind of hang and jives well with the rest of the team members.
Just a good
And
attitude.
yeah, I can always teach you technical, but if you're
Yeah.
one of those people constantly sharing negative comments online, just saying how nothing's working out for you, like I get
Woe
it.
is me.
It's a struggle. And I understand there's some times where you want to have those posts and kind of let things out. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily wrong, but when it becomes a consistent negativity, like that was the biggest thing for me when I got laid off, is like I just wouldn't listen to that negative voice. Like even though I would lose out on opportunity after opportunity, I wouldn't kind of let it break me. And I think that is the hard part with a lot of people in this market.
Yeah.
What have you seen since you've kind of broken into it? Have people reached out to you to like ask you your secret and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's actually one reason I started mentoring, other than me promising you. But
I love that.
people would ask, and I would tell them like, "Hey, network, network, network." Like, there's not one answer. I mean, you have to skill up, work on projects. If you want to go down the certification path, kind of figure out what you want to do. But you can't really say I want to get into cybersecurity, because that's just saying, I want to do police work, which there's a million different aspects to policing. There's forensics, there's gang units, there's patrol officers, there's traffic units, there's like water units. There's a million different ways. So I would tell people to kind of narrow down the scope of what they want to do and kind of focus on that.
Yeah,
But
I
you
would
know,
say try to stay away from the sexy stuff too. Like if you think you're gonna jump into an incident response or a pen testing role right off the bat, that's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard.
well,
Not impossible, but
that's not an
hard.
entry level position,
It is not. No.
because I've done some pen testing and it is not easy.
No.
And
No, the
that's coming
stuff that
from
my
a
guys do is
digital
impressive.
forensics
Yeah.
guy, which that's complete opposite of what I'm used to. Because I'm used to looking for stuff and just taking my time, versus
Yeah,
just
and
kind
not
of
and not having that timeline. I explained that to somebody recently. I was like, yeah, you're great at kind of doing try hack me and doing those things. But I need you to pen test this application as thoroughly as possible, and you have 2.5 weeks to do it. And there you can't do anything else, and you need to make sure you cover every base. Can you
you
do
have to
it?
be
Right?
thorough.
It's that time constraint that kind of adds that additional thoroughness and makes things difficult where that skill comes into play. Where do you see some of the things like that you previously did with law enforcement tying into cyber?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of investigation, just asking questions and just kind of looking for solutions. Like, if you go to a call for service as a street officer, you have a wife and husband that are arguing, like, was a crime committed? Like, what's the resolution? Like, do they just need to separate for the night and kind of cool off? Or like, if a crime was committed, what's the crime? Like, is there a kid involved? Is there, like, what do you do with the kid? Is it a good habitat for the kids? Just, I would say for every incident you go to, have at least 20 questions lined up for it. But I mean, the same thing applies with tech. I mean, or even like cybersecurity. Just ask questions, like be inquisitive, like why isn't this working, and try to get a good understanding why, like why something is the way it is.
Never assume that something is the way it should be. Just to ask those questions and things like that. One of my leaders always says, "I'm going to ask a lot of dumb questions and in succession here. I need answers to them. They may not be the right questions, but I'm going to ask them anyways, just so I can get a better handle on things." And I was
Yeah, I
like,
just wants to understand.
yeah, I kind of love that, right? And I do very similar where I'm like, all right, explain it to me as if I'm a kid, because like I don't fully grok what you're putting down here.
Yeah, and sometimes, like, in this field, that people don't really talk normal sometimes. Like,
No.
that's one thing I even see on LinkedIn, is just people talk like in corporate jargon. Like, it's like, dude, talk normally. Like, I don't know what any of that
The
means. Like,
my employee came up to me today and I learned this life lesson. It's like,
yeah, I saw one post where a person had said that their daughter got in a car wreck, and they really reflected on how it taught them about business to business sales. It's like, get out of here. Like,
I I I you sent me that post and I was
yeah,
just
no,
like,
I follow
I mean, yeah,
there's a subreddit called LinkedIn Lunatics. That's, yeah, you see some pretty funny stuff on there. It's like, this has to be
yeah,
satire.
you would hope. but a lot of it
I'm
is
assuming it
legit.
is, but
Yeah, some of it is legit. I've run into some very interesting people.
yep,
Well,
me
so
too.
since you've started to post more, you're starting to post articles more, which I think is awesome. You're
Mm,
repaying your debt to me by mentoring others, which is the
mm.
debt that I have all of my mentees pay, because they're always like, "How much do I owe you?" Or "How much does it cost?" And I'm like, "Nothing." But you've got to give up your time later for somebody else. What have you actually started working with someone? Like, you don't need name names or anything, but like,
No, no, I've
what
had
has that been
three
like?
mentees so far, and
Nice.
you know, I kind of tell them the same thing I mentioned earlier, just like, what is it about yourself that'll make you stand out from the rest? Because there is a lot of people trying to get in cyber right now,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of certifications being gotten, and your resume could be great, but what's going to make you stand out? Like, you're going to
And
have to
then,
go to do
yeah.
what other people aren't doing.
And how are they going to even see your resume when an entry level role gets 500 resumes, right?
Yeah, creep on the company, see who works there, see who the CEO
I,
is.
I totally did the same thing.
I did the exact same
All the
thing. I
com
looked at who
yeah,
the recruiters were, who were in roles that I wanted,
yeah,
and
and
I
then
would
reach out
message
to those
them.
people. Yeah,
Yeah, hey,
same.
what's your favorite thing about this company? Like, you know, what advice would you have someone wanting to come onto your company? Like,
Yeah, but
what would you improve on in the company? Like,
th
you
those are such important things, and I started doing very similar, and I found a lot of success with that.
people will talk. People will
Yeah,
tell you if they don't like a company or if they do like it, and they'll tell you what to do. Like, some will say work on projects, some will say, hey, network, get this
yep,
certification. Some will say, hey, talk to, so and so, Billy Bob.
yep.
And you'd be surprised. People will talk, but I think
Well,
some of the mentees I talked to got kind of deterred because they would get ghosted or people wouldn't respond. It's like, well, that happens. I mean, just press forward.
I sent out 2,800 messages. I got about maybe 500 responses. It's right.
Yeah, and that's actually
It,
pretty
it,
good.
yeah, I felt pretty good about it, but that's because my stuff was unique, right? I even had recruiters reach back and go, I don't have anything for you now, but that intro video and kind of talking about your skills and what you're looking for, that really helps me as a recruiter and showcases your soft skills, which what people don't seem to fully understand is that a recruiter's job is not working for you. Their job is to work for the company to find somebody that's great, and they want to be able to bring talent that's going to crush an interview. So they'll do a chat with you, and that's also to get to know you, but it's also really just to see how you talk, how you conduct yourself, how you carry
If you're
yourself,
likable.
if you're likable, right? And if they can put you in front of a customer, because if they continue to put bad people in front of a customer, that they're going to lose that customer's business. So I did a video a while back where I'm like, they don't owe you anything. They're not working for you. They work for the customer. You're just a product, for lack of anything better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should people get ghosted? No, but I will tell you from talking to
It's
my
life.
recruiter friends, the second they log in, it's just like ping, 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 ping. And the first message to a recruiter from like every single person, and I get this all the time too, where it's just like, hey, I just graduated from college. Here's my resume. Let me know if you have an opening. It's like, cool your jets, man. Like take it
Yeah.
down a notch.
They probably get a
Like
hundred responses like that.
every day. I mean, on average, I get probably 20 to 30 messages a day, and most of them are sales, and then like a good percentage of them are people just looking for jobs. And it's clearly an automated message, because my name is kind of weird on LinkedIn specifically to break bots and
Yeah,
identify
you're
them.
hard to search because the
I,
font.
yeah, I am darn near impossible to
Because
search.
when I try to tag
So
you and stuff, I'm like, oh man, I have to go to this page and freaking
copy
copy
and
the R.
paste.
Then
Everybody gets so frustrated with that.
it's
They're
like,
like, I tried to
ah.
tag you, it wouldn't work.
So then I'll
But
try to pull up the DMs and I'll
yeah.
try to like highlight your name. Then I'll go to your page. So your page probably has like 50 views for me just trying to copy you.
Well, and the reason I did that is one, I didn't want to be easily searchable. Even though I'm trying to kind of grow a brand, I also don't really care about growing a brand. I just care about helping people. So,
Yeah.
um, to me, it was more important to be less searchable and less hassled than it was to kind of be able for people to find my content because the right
Yeah.
people will figure it
I
out.
would just DM people your profile just from your page.
A lot of people do, which is I
Yeah.
absolutely love because I get a lot of people to reach out. But what I've seen consistently and what you didn't do is I gave you advice, I told you what to do, and that you instantly actioned it.
Yeah, I mean,
Are you seeing with your mentees that they're actioning your advice, or are you seeing that kind of
the few I
pushback and
have, yeah,
some,
there,
yeah,
there's a few
that's
where,
awesome.
I try to be constructive about it and say like, hey, you might want to change your profile picture, or
Yeah,
hey, like, I would modify this, and I go back and check, and they've done all that.
love it.
And that's one thing that was kind of my perspective when you were mentoring me is like, I felt pretty crappy when you ripped my LinkedIn profile apart. I was like, oh man, it's like I didn't do anything right. But then I
You,
kind of had like a retro thought. It was like, well, like he knows what he's doing. Like he's not doing it to be like a dickhead. He's doing it just
no,
to help me out. Like it was
yeah,
not coming from a place of like malice. It
no,
was
not at
just you were
all.
just trying to help me out, and everything you did, I made a list. I wrote it down, bullet
Yeah.
points like profile picture.
My tact is not the best. I blame the autism, but it is I try to do my best to like come from a place where it's coming from the heart. Like I had
Yeah, and I
a
got
met
that. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think you would have sent that big wall of criticism if
Just
well,
for
it didn't.
fun.
Yeah, just to be a jerk. Like it's like no, I mean,
No.
I thought it looked good at the time, but then it's like, oh well, he's right about this too, and
You
I still
started
get a kick out of your profile. Like when you look probably the unemployed section, you put like beat
Oh,
completed Zelda and like
yeah,
increasing
200
your
hours.
yeah yeah officially decreasing your boredom.
Yeah,
And I try to
my
put some funny like tidbits in that in my profile too. Like I don't know if I ever told you, but I was on the Conan O'Brien show like 15 years ago as like a guest speaker in the audience.
nice.
And I have a snippet of that. So I put that in my honors and awards guest speaker on Conan O'Brien show. And I haven't got one person comment on it.
That's my favorite. I love when people find that obscure stuff that I've hidden in my
Yeah.
profile. I find it hilarious. Like I got a
Yeah. I try
message
to
from
throw stuff
somebody.
like that in there just because, LinkedIn is so serious. It's just corporate jargon and people complaining about not getting jobs. It's like, well, I mean, like I thrive off positivity. Like, and that's kind of what
Yeah.
you were saying earlier. Is like you don't want to hire someone that's gonna be toxic. Like you want to have someone that's gonna be positive and uplifting. Because I'm sure you have, but I have worked with people that are Debbie Downers, and it's a drag.
Yeah. Well, it can be incredibly like I feel for them, right? There's people who suffer from depression, all that stuff is really difficult.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to minimize it, but there is a very like large percentage of people who just want to blame everyone else and not take any acceptance for their mistakes or things that they've done wrong. And I've seen that so many times in my career where somebody will break something and then they just won't even own it. They would rather hide the fact that they made a mistake. And I get it to a point, but I really just try to lead with honesty and integrity. Like my mentoring is not for everybody, right? I'm very blunt and very just kind of direct. Here's what you need to do. And then when I see people putting in the effort, like that approach gets a lot softer. I reach out often, I check in, and stuff like that. And what's one of the things that you've learned now that you have a job in cyber? Like, I know the hours are kind of long and stuff like that, but what is some of the other stuff that you've learned that you maybe just didn't even think of before you actually were in the job?
Well, I struggled with imposter syndrome for a while. I feel like you don't really see a whole lot of people talk about that, but
Yeah.
probably for the first 12 months I was there, I didn't feel like I was qualified. I felt like I wasn't learning quick enough. I just felt like I didn't know anything about anything. But, you know, I've been there for about almost 2 years now. And, I feel a lot more confident. I still don't feel like I know everything, but this isn't one of those fields where you ever will know everything. Like, you just got to keep learning and you got to still be inquisitive. Like, one thing I've been trying to learn lately just is AI. I've been working on an AI project the last week with Docker and like running the models against each other, a lot with DeepSeek and Wireshark. I know we've talked about that. Uh,
Don't get me started on DeepSeek.
yeah, yeah, I've been
Uh,
running
uh,
Wireshark on that thing.
yeah, that'll be a huge derail of a conversation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Suspicious app, don't use it. I would
Yeah,
recommend it. That's
I
the
would,
well,
I would, Yeah, I would say that every security researcher I know just basically said, yeah, this is owned by nation state, and there's
Yeah.
nothing good that can come of this.
Yeah, it doesn't go anywhere where you'd want it to. Like, don't use it. ChatGPT
No,
is
no.
fine.
Yeah, I mean, for now, who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows who will buy it out or if they'll ever it. And
Yeah.
that's the thing that makes it interesting with large language models. So I think what you're showing is kind of that innate curiosity that all of us who are professionals in this field who do well have. We're like, even
Yeah.
outside of work, we're like, I'm gonna play with this, or I'm gonna try to hack that, or I'm gonna try to mess with this.
Hey, or what
Um,
can I do with this? But
yeah,
I think if you're getting into cybersecurity just for money, like I think you're gonna get burned out in real
this is the
quick.
wrong job. Yeah, this is the
Yeah,
wrong
because
job.
you have to have that passion, or else it's just you're not gonna make it.
Well, and the job
Because
is boring as hell if you really think about what we do. Like,
reading
if you
logs
don't
and
if you don't love reading logs and looking for like needles in a haystack,
yeah, absolutely.
it is a mind-numbing job. Like I had my daughter looking over my shoulder one time and she was just looking at all the code and stuff that I was staring at because I was looking at PCAP logs. For
Mm,
those of you who don't know, those are internet traffic logs. And she's like, "What is all that?" And I was like, "Well, this is where the attacker was going, and I'm trying to figure out what he did and when the package changed and when his attack changed." And she's like, "That's really boring." And I was like, "Yes, it is, but I love it."
yeah. I've done the same thing with firewall traffic. I've sat down at 8 o'clock, started looking at it. I look at the clock, it's 11:30. I said, "Oh man,
Well, the other thing too is how many times do you just forget to eat? You just,
yeah,
I do that all
yeah."
the
I'm
time.
not eating till like 1 o'clock just because I get so like wrapped up
Yep.
in tunnel vision on my computer.
Yeah, you get hyper focused. Those of us with ADHD and hyper focus, we can't take our minds off of it. We can't get away from it.
Yeah, and
And I
you really don't want to break that work like that flow you have either.
no.
Like, and that's just kind of that's how I am. It just like I want to complete this till I want to finish this before I go to the next thing.
Yeah, what we call it pulling every thread, right? When I was in incident response, we would pull every single thread till there were no more threads to pull, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes that would be quick, sometimes it would take hours. Especially when people would spin up multiple accounts. It was always super annoying when an attacker got into an account that had improper role-based access controls, and then they were able
Mm.
to create more accounts. I was like, oh, my investigation just got drastically worse.
Oh man. Well, I think my blood pressure went up hearing you talk about that. It's got
Incident response was a lot of fun for me. I loved the adrenaline rush, but the downs were such a hard down because sometimes you're just sitting there chasing anomalies, trying to find something to do, looking to basically give your company some value for your time. You're reading logs, you're looking through alerts, you're trying to help the SOC and knock. I mean, anything to kind of pass the time when there's not an incident.
yeah.
Um, and that I think is the hardest part is keeping that fresh mind and still being excited. If you got into it only for the money, that is only going to keep you occupied for
Yeah.
so
And
long.
I'm with you about the incident response too. It's just you have something big you want to it's just like a big puzzle that's torn apart and you're just trying to piece it together. And that's where I love the forensics so much. Just there's just so much to it. And there's so much you can find. Then you get to put like a nice little pretty bow on it and
Yeah.
basically reverse engineer the incident.
Yeah, and you get to kind of the who done it phase, right? You get to kind of look through how they got in, when they got in, how they moved, and you can literally retrace their steps,
Yeah,
right?
just this where does the evidence lead?
Yep.
The evidence
I think
indicates this.
a lot of your detective skills probably come into play there too, where
Yeah.
you're really utilizing those different skills and talents that you've kind of honed over the years to kind of follow the trail
You're
where it
just telling a
goes.
story, just, why this evidence indicates so and so or this incident. Like this is all the evidence that points to this big bubble.
Yeah, I always tell people that your job as an incident responder or as somebody who validates alerts at the SOC or NOC is not to find threats, it's to prove false positives. Like that's your
Yeah.
job is to specifically, you don't go into it thinking it's something bad. You go into it trying to prove it's a false positive. And if you can't prove it's a false positive, that's where things get interesting. That's where you really start to dig in.
Yeah, absolutely. Just,
Yeah. So you
you
you had mentioned your imposter syndrome. Was there anything you did to kind of help combat that, or did you just finally get to a point where you feel more comfortable in your own skin? Like
I
how did
think
that
uh
happen?
I think it was really two things, like talking to people.
Yeah.
I did a lot of reading about imposter syndrome. I know when I've reached out to you before about some oopsies I've made, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is what I did, and this is how I messed up, and it made me feel better.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to people, and they're like, yeah, I didn't really feel comfortable till at least like 8 months in. I say,
Yeah.
okay, well, cool. That's exactly how I feel. And just reading about it too, and just talking to people on LinkedIn, just you know,
I still have my imposter syndrome probably for a decade. Like, because every role I would move into, I would move roles every few years at Disney into a role that I just wasn't qualified for, that I had no
mhm,
skill or talent for. But I was interested in it, and I knew I could figure it out, and I knew I could do it, and I knew I could be an expert at it in 6 months to a year. But I would always go in knowing nothing. And I just continued doing that only within the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years. Like it took me till I was about 40 to lose my imposter syndrome. My wife actually was the one who kind of helped me really think it through. I had just scored the manager of security DevOps at Disney role, and I was panicking. It was like my first day, and I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like I barely knew what security DevOps was. I've been obsessively researching it for the last several months, but I've never had anything practical. I didn't understand it, and I was horrified. And my wife goes, "How many times have you done this?" And I was like, I don't know, like probably 10. She's like, then what are you worried about? Like, you'll be fine. You'll figure it out. And if you don't know it, you'll be open and honest and say, hey, I don't know. Explain it to me.
yeah.
Well, so
My
what
wife's
are
done
you
the
so
same
worried
thing where
about?
she's like, hey, you got this. You're fine. They wouldn't hire you for they didn't believe in you.
Yeah, that's one of the big things I tell my mentees too, is like they're not hiring you because like they're pitying you. They're hiring you because you're the best. Like you're the best of the worst people that they interviewed. You may not be right for
Yeah.
the job, but they know that they can get you there, and they
And
know that they can help you get there.
they don't have anything to gain from you failing either. Like, they didn't hire
None.
you just to fire you.
Just so you could fail. Yeah.
But
Honestly, that is so when you're a leader, if you hire someone and then you instantly have to fire them, that is definitely not a good
yeah.
look.
But I kind of like the point you made where you said like, you got promoted into different roles and you didn't really feel confident. And I feel like one of those things when you start becoming like management roles, like it's almost like a humbling thing where
Yeah.
you don't want to ask for help because you're supposed to be up here, but you have to kind of humble yourself and be like, hey, well, I'm gonna have to ask for help or else I'm gonna crash and burn.
Yeah. I always say I'm a dumb executive. Explain this to me.
Yeah, and it's
Like,
just, I think a lot of people don't in leadership positions, not even tied to cybersecurity, but they just don't want to have to ask questions
yeah.
that they feel like they should already know.
Yeah. The most powerful lesson that you can learn in cyber early on is being inquisitive and asking questions and being okay
Yeah,
being dumb or not knowing something, right? There's a big difference in being ignorant and being just, foolish, right? Like you just because you don't know something doesn't mean you're stupid. I think that one of my favorite quotes is like if you try to teach a fish to climb a tree, it's going to spend its whole life feeling dumb, right?
right.
And that's the reality with cyber too, is like if you don't know something, just ask. Like if something doesn't make sense, ask about it. And if somebody judges you because you don't know one small aspect of something, it's probably not a person you wanted to spend time around or talk to anyways.
Or ask for advice, like, you know,
That that is my rule. If I wouldn't go to you for advice, then your opinion doesn't matter.
yeah, and just you can know what people's strengths are too. Like if you're buddies with a guy, a network engineer, ask them a networking question, or
Yeah.
you know, if a forensics guy, ask them about incident response. Like if pen testing, ask a guy who pen tests. Like I've always found more people are willing to help than like we think.
Yeah, totally, totally. Well, I mean, what's your like last piece of advice that you would give to someone who just graduated college and are trying to kind of break into the field or make a career change, what's that piece of advice that you think is the kind of key to all of this?
Don't give up and press on. Like, it's life in
Yeah,
general is not hard. Like, you know, you're not gonna people aren't gonna see your freshly printed certificate or diploma and say, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna hire him." No, you have to work hard, you have to grind, you have to
yeah.
learn, you have to network. You just have to keep pushing forward. You can't let a denial or if you don't get hired, just don't beat yourself up over it. Just, hey, what could I do better? Self
Yeah,
improvement's really big in this field,
yeah.
I think.
And there's a billion reasons why they didn't hire you, and 99 of them don't have anything to do with you,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, their cousin might have been applying. Like, you never know. Like,
Yep.
don't
Their
ask
their
them too many
their,
questions about that. Just move forward.
their buddy may have been hired, the guy or girl may have just been slightly more qualified or
Yeah,
less
or someone
qualified,
just
but they
deserved it
thought they were
more.
cooler. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's millions of
It,
reasons. Like, someone might
yeah.
have deserved it more. You had this one guy that grinded for a long time, or he networked and did what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, no, so really just focusing on soft skills. And I know several of the people I've talked to and the professionals I've talked to is just like focus on soft skills, don't give
Yeah.
up, right? It's a marathon, not a race.
And some people might not know about it, but there's actually an international group called Toastmasters International. I think you've heard of it,
Yeah,
but
huge
you get to
for public
practice public
speaking.
speaking there. And it's one of those organizations where, like, you'll say a 2, 3 minute speech, everyone claps, they give you feedback, good and bad. And, you sit down and you watch the next person do it. It's just an organization of self improvement. Like,
Yep.
no one likes public speaking, or most people don't, but, you know, just the
I
way
mean,
life is,
I,
you're going
I
to have to
was
do it.
I was crippled by public speaking for so long. It was hundreds and hundreds of cycles and hundreds of presentations for me to get to where I'm at, where I
Yeah,
can
most people
present.
don't like it. I still don't like it. I used to have to do it in a court setting, and
Oh
I
God,
didn't like
yeah.
that because, defense attorneys will rip you to shreds
I
about a
can
word you said.
imagine. Yeah, you
And
slip
that is
and
not
it's
fun when
over.
you have jurors watching you get, like, making you look like an idiot. That's
Oh
something
God.
of a case that happened 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's brutal. Well,
Yeah,
man,
it's not fun.
I appreciate your time, man. I'm
Yeah,
loving
man.
watching your journey. I'm loving watching you kind of grow into the cyber professional, sharing articles and knowledge. Like, it gets me so excited because I
Yeah.
had a small part in that, and that's why I
Yeah,
do
no, you had
this,
a big
right?
part. Like,
I
if you hadn't
appreciate it.
shredded my LinkedIn profile part, I probably wouldn't have optimized it the way I did, and I think I still have your resume format.
Nice.
I,
Yeah, a
I
lot of
liked
people
it.
do. I love it, man. It works.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
All right.